During a family stroll, a blind grandfather became lost in the forest and felt hopeless when he noticed a wolf coming. You'll be astonished, though, at what the beast did to him when it spotted him. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. It was Paul Lucas's greatest moment ever. He walked for nearly 20 minutes, only using his senses, until he had to stop to regain his breath. He patted the ground with his cane, searching for a rocky place to sit. He located one, eased himself onto the rock gradually, and snuggled there while chuckling gently. Despite being nearly totally blind, he was astounded that he could still navigate a jungle. He hadn't experienced an adventure like this in almost 15 years. Lucas, however, was unaware that the true adventure had not yet started. He softly leaned his back on the rock and whistled his favorite song, not realizing the misery he had brought upon his son and son-in-law, or the horrible death that awaited him. A crisp snap of twigs and the rustle of leaves brought him back to the present moment in an instant. He felt the environment around him change instantly. An instinctual shudder went down his spine as the tension in the air made him aware that there was an invisible threat not far away. A low growl sounded suddenly through the trees, sending a shiver of horror down his spine. Lucas had a gut feeling that he wasn't alone, even if he couldn't see anything. A primitive sense alerted him to the impending threat of a predator. Paul Lucas stayed motionless, his heart racing from the adrenaline. All of his senses alerted to the thing that was pursuing him. With every second that went by, he could hear the gentle patter of paws on the woodland floor, and he prepared himself for what would surely happen. Then, as abruptly as it had started, the tension in the air subsided and was replaced by a distinct stillness that pervaded the woodland. Lucas held his breath, listening for any indication of the wolf's whereabouts, his heart thumping in his chest. The elderly man felt as though hours had gone before he finally heard the wolf's footsteps melting back into the forest's shadows and the soft rustle of leaves. Lucas let out a breath of relief, gently took up his cane, and turned away from the spot where the wolf had vanished. An increasing uneasiness gnawed at the corners of his mind as he walked more into the bush. The familiar scene felt unsettlingly strange as the shadows seemed to stretch out. He was so engrossed in his thoughts and his fervent prayers for a miracle that he failed to see that he was tripping over an overgrown root and fell. He tried to shift his body and sit up, wincing in agony, but he was grateful that he had not broken any ribs. Lucas felt a chill go down his spine as he heard a quiet growl that suddenly brought back memories. He realized he had unintentionally come across the wolf again and stopped in place, his pulse thumping with panic. The old guy struggled for his cane with shaky hands, his heart pounding in anticipation of the confrontation. His senses sharpened to the maximum, the air crackling with tension as he faced the predator. Lucas found himself trapped in a primordial dance of survival at that brief instant. Every instinct told him to go, but he was aware that a quick movement may arouse the wolf's wrath, so he just stood there, hoping against hope that the thing would grow bored and disappear back into the darkness. Oliver and Sam were gathering wood in a clearing, and he should never have ventured there. His thoughts turned to his family and the final joyful moments he had spent with them as he awaited what he believed to be his last breath. That was supposed to have been a happy camping vacation. His doctor had told him just days prior that the experimental medication he had been taking to slow down his disease had not worked. He was nearly completely blind at this point, and there was no going back. He had made the decision to pack his bags and head off to the yearly camping retreat that he and his daughter attended every summer, in spite of his wife's disapproving remarks. They had a long-standing custom, and he wasn't going to disrupt it because one of his 5 senses wasn't working. After all, he still had 4 more to go, and he knew that spending time with his loved ones would help ease the anguish and sorrow he was experiencing. Lucas and his spouse hopped into their daughter's vehicle and followed her to Oliver's residence. They hadn't informed him they were following behind, and Lucas sensed his kid was ecstatic to see him. Despite a little amount of fear, he made an effort to hide. The rest of his family felt the same way, particularly little Lucas, who always looked forward to seeing the guy with whom he shared a name. After packing the vehicle with everything they needed, they left for the Nord campsite. After almost 2 hours and 150 kilometers of driving, The van lurched and a frightening grinding sound could be heard throughout the vehicle. The engine stuttered to a halt and a startled Oliver hurriedly pulled over to the side of the road. Nord was only a few kilometers distant from them. There was little more than thick evergreen trees all around them. Oliver and Sam, his brother-in-law, made vain attempts to diagnose the van's problem. Grandpa Lucas was able to divert little Lucas's attention with amusing anecdotes from his past. Oliver and Sam were nevertheless forced to make an assistance request, but by tomorrow afternoon, the tow vehicle would not be able to get to them. Oliver's mother proposed that they set up camp in the bush and wait for assistance. Oliver was the only one who didn't leap at the notion. He couldn't bear the idea of his family suffering because he had heard that wolves may be prowling the neighborhood. To prevent frightening them all, he didn't express his worries, so he followed their lead. After emptying the vehicle, they made camp a short distance from the highway, deep in the bush. The woodland was not too dense, and based on a few stray objects that were lying around, it appeared like someone had been there not too long ago. Before it grew dark, Oliver and Sam offered to walk a bit farther into the forest and get wood for the fire. In order to experience nature, his father asked to accompany them. They had no idea that they were going to go through anything really upsetting. The three of them made their way through the tall trees as they entered the woodland, their footsteps crunching softly on the layer of dried leaves and twigs that had fallen. Shafts of golden sunshine poured through the canopy, creating dappled patterns on the forest floor, and the air was heavy with the earthy aroma of pine. Oliver looked around with a sharp eye, seeing deadwood and fallen branches that would be ideal for starting their bonfire. He and his brother-in-law collected armfuls of dried branches and broke them into little pieces together. Oliver's father marveled at the peaceful beauty of their surroundings while they worked, taking in the sounds and scents of the woodland. Even though his vision was failing, he was remarkably acutely aware of everything else. He enjoyed being able to spend time in the great outdoors, taking in the clear mountain air and the bird song that reverberated through the foliage. Lucas grabbed his cane and hurriedly moved deeper into the trees without pausing for consideration. Oliver had barely picked up a small handful of wood when he noticed his father's last-place seat was suddenly silent. He turned to face the location, worried by this strange silence, but it was empty. He cried out to Sam, startled. They didn't hesitate to start calling out Grandpa Lucas's name, their voices resonating through the trees as they looked about for any indication of movement. However, the old man's whereabouts remained unknown, and there was no reaction. The woods continued to be eerily silent, as though holding its breath. Oliver and Sam started searching the area with increasing fear, their movements becoming more rapid as they hurriedly dug through the undergrowth and peered into the darkness in hopes of finding their missing father. Lucas didn't hear people chanting his name, and he wouldn't have had the confidence to speak up and say something. Now that the wolf was near, he could sense it. All he could hope was that when it ate him, it wouldn't create too much of a mess. However, the wolf's subsequent actions were nearly unreal. Rather of charging in, it moved gently toward the elderly guy after spotting something unusual about him with its sharp instincts. It nudged at Lucas's cane, pulling at it softly as though beckoning him to stand and follow. The wolf's antics astonished Lucas at first, but he slowly stood up on quivering legs and allowed himself to be led, feeling both curious and scared. The wolf led him through the maze-like woodland with each pull on the cane. Its motions were unexpectedly slow and careful. Paul Lucas followed, his other senses sharpened as he depended on the wolf's acute vision to navigate the wilderness, trusting in its instinctive direction. He sensed a connection with the wolf even though he was blind. It was as though they had an unsaid understanding based on trust and need. He moved cautiously and gently, feeling the woodland floor with the tips of his feet before moving forward, the cane firmly in the wolf's jaws. Despite his fear of falling and suffering severe injuries, the wolf appeared to recognize that the elderly guy was blind and utilized its coat to guide his unsteady legs in the direction of safety. With a wolf that led the way with a tenacity that defied its wild character, they cautiously made their way further into the forest. The unexpected bond that had developed between them, bridging the gaps between species and perception, made Paul Lucas's heart burst with appreciation. His wonder quickly overcame his trepidation, and he nearly burst out laughing. He pondered how an outsider might perceive the scene, a wolf leading a blind man into the wilderness. Oliver and Sam had absolutely no intention of laughing at that particular moment. Even if his family would have thought it was funny, Paul Lucas was no longer with them. How did that happen? They asked one another again. He was a cane-wielding blind man with unsteady legs who should have been simple to follow, and yet there was no trace of him anywhere, and it was getting close to nightfall. Oliver and Sam headed back to the family slowly and bitterly, dejected after spending hours looking for answers in the deep forest. They gathered the rest of the family and conveyed the terrible news, exhausted and dejected. A sense of hopelessness was the only thing keeping them from acting on their sense of powerlessness as they sat close together. They were stuck in a hopeless limbo, their vehicle still broken down and no way out of the jungle to get help. They clustered around their cell phone, which had spotty coverage, and made a concerted attempt to call for aid. They dialed numbers and texted into the blank, hoping that someone would answer and provide them with the much-needed assistance. However, as time went on, their dread of losing Lucas permanently increased due to the forest's solitude, but they didn't have to worry. The old man and the wolf finally emerged from the thick undergrowth into the open where the camp was tucked in between the trees, after what seemed like a lifetime. The wolf let go of the cane and crept back into the forest as soon as he noticed the humans gathered around the fire. Lucas turned to wave to the beast, gave the blind guy one more glance, then spun around and said, "I'm back." Oliver was embraced by his family as they rushed to embrace him when they shot to their feet. They were overcome with conflicting feelings, concerned about the wolf's presence so near to the campground, perplexed by what they had just seen, and overall giddy from the adrenaline rush. They were incredibly pleased to find him safe and well, Oliver questioned, unable to form a coherent phrase. How? Still, Lucas got the picture, retorting, "The wolf gave me a ride." With hearts full of appreciation, his family marveled at the unexpected help they had gotten as they saw the magnificent monster vanish into the darkness. They also felt a great sense of relief. Though they were prepared for an adventure, what they just witnessed was truly miraculous and something they will never forget. What an unexpected story. Do you believe the wolf recognized the fear and helplessness of the elderly man? If you could feel danger but not see it, how would it make you feel? Leave a comment below to let us know. I appreciate your time and I hope to see you in the future video. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.